So I'm recreating this white noise from the anime Tokyo Revengers, the second season. So this is the opening for the second season, and yeah. So right now I'm just trying to divide the song for every section. So right now we have an intro, which is going to be all this part over here, and the verses, the breaks, the first chorus, and for now I'm just going to go along the whole song and just, try to get every single marker down. So I noticed there is a bit of a difference in the time signature, but I'm trying to figure out if it's just a time signature or just a rhythmic difference or a BPM difference. So as you can see here, the chorus starts here. It doesn't start at the start of the bar, but it starts a bit earlier, which is awkward. So I'm gonna go back and see where these change in where this shift starts happening. So right now in the bridge, it starts properly. So what I'm trying to do now, trying to figure out where it changes. Okay, this seems to have fixed it. Now let's go back and see if 144 is the actual BPM of the song, because at 143 it was going all pretty good until the bridge, and the solo and this part over here, right? So let's see if 144 kind of works also for the start of the song. And I don't think so. It doesn't work. So you can hear the metronome getting slightly. I mean, the song is getting slowly out of time according to the BP, to the metronome, right? Because the metronome is always set at 144, 133, whatever, and the song is actually kind of shifting from that BPM, and you can actually see it visually. So you see all these peaks here. These are the loudest part of the sections. So usually it's where the kick, the cymbals, all those impact sounds occur. So they have all these, these wider peaks. So now, wait, okay. So now, the way you can visually see it is you have to kind of look for these peaks and align them every 4 beats, or basically the rhythm of the song that you're trying to that you're trying to recreate, right? So if the song that you're trying to recreate is a slower song, maybe it has these peaks once every 4 bars, or maybe once every 4 beats or whatever. In this case, the song has this song as it pretty often. So since I'm experienced enough, I can tell that these are supposed to be every beat. So you can also hear the kick. Oh, we're gonna talk about this effect later, and I will tell you about all the cool stuff that we will do later. So I hate doing this. I'm just singing this song now. So I always hate doing tempo changes. It upsets me, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna show you a little cool trick that you can do inside of FL Studio and automation clips. So since we figured out that this song dances between 143 and 144 BPM, I'm gonna copy the highest value, which is 144. So right click on the BPM panel, copy value, go inside the automation clip, and where it says, okay, here, where it says max, this is the maximum value that the automation clip can handle. Right now I set it to 144, and you guessed it, I'm gonna do the same for the minimum value, which is 143. So if it goes all the way to 0, it's 143, and if it goes all the way to max, it's 144. Now you see how these audio clips change in length every time I change the BPM. This is gonna be very awkward to deal with. So what you will have to do is set the BPM to 143 or to whatever the first part of the song is, right? So the song changes around this part here. So I'm just gonna go here. I probably should have done it differently. Hold on. Okay, so right here. But what? Now let's just call this bridge, and we will call this break. I forgot. I think it's break 5. Break 3, break 4. Yes, it's break 5. So we're gonna call where the BPM changes bridge. So we're just gonna split the audio clips and just gonna make them unique. Make them unique. Make them unique. So this is what you're gonna do is make sure that the BPM is set to 144, not 139.999. Okay, right. So you're gonna go here and set this to stretch. So when you set a now the file to stretch, it basically locks it to the BPM that it currently is at, right? So right now it's 144, and we need these two parts here to be 144. So when we go back here, we see that these do not change in length, but only these two, like this. See, I'm gonna emphasize whatever. Also, do you see how these two just stay? Well, they stay the same, right? And only these parts here change. And we're gonna do the same for this part. So we're here, stretch, here, and stretch. So now when we get the cursor across the entire song, you see that despite the fact that the BPM changes, the audio files stay the same, but they are locked to the to their BPM, because if this were well, let's go here. So you see how this part is supposed to be 143, right? But if we set it when the BPM was 144, it would basically be locked at 144, and working with the track would give you a headache. It would be basically impossible, right? Because the song is not at 144 BPM until this part here. So make sure that you pay attention to what the BPMs are and where they change, before you actually do this trick. So yeah, you're gonna be 144 probably for the rest of the song. Okay, 144 seems to be a bit off. So let's try 145. Also 145, maybe 140. Oh, no, wait, never mind. I made a mistake. Of course, the track is not going to change because it's set to 144, so you'll never see it change, no matter how many times you change the BPM, right? So, hold on. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. It's not 145. It's are you really no, you can't be 144 and a half. Please don't be this. Please tell me that I'm wrong. Well, for the outro, I'm not gonna bother dubbing out the BPM because it's very simplistic. It's just a piano that I'm just gonna do by here, and then just a diamond chord, which can start when just line it up to where the actual song starts and just let it be the end of it, So I'm not gonna bother actually subbing out the BPM for that part because it's just too much work for literally no reason. So getting back to this beat here. What the hell is the BPM for this beat? Ah, fuck. Now we gotta wait for it to load. Stretch, yes. .144 is pretty accurate. I mean, you know, there might be a few delays, a few small delays, maybe to the fact that it's been played by actually humans. I don't know. I don't think so, because these delays kind of look very actually the same. You know, instead of starting here, they start a bit earlier, and they always start a bit earlier by the same amount. So it's probably just a few millimeters off, milliseconds off, or whatever the milli of the BPMs are called. But 144 seems to be pretty accurate, and it's also going to be better for the singers to actually sing on it. You know, instead of actually having 144 point whatever the fuck. I used to do that to be 100% correct. But I realized that sending the instrumental to singers and then tell them that the BPM actually changes from 144 to 145 point whatever is a bit awkward, especially for them, that they will have to load it up to their DAW and actually sing, because they will see and they will hear that the song is just not 144 or 145. So they will actually have to sit there and manually adjust their BPM. It's basically awkward, you know what I'm saying? It's awkward, especially because a lot of them just use Audacity and, whatever. But, yeah, so just stick to simplistic BPMs and don't put the decimal points after decimal numbers afterwards. And just get the basically 99% accuracy, and it's just good enough, you know. You don't have to do weird stuff to have it aligned perfectly. I mean, not always, but sometimes you might have to. And I'm trying to understand why. Why do you get? Oh, it's because. It's because of this, is it not? So. Wait, why are you changing? You should be set to stretch. And you should be set to stretch. We will worry about that later. So now that we set the... Actually, let's worry about this now. So there's this website in which you can actually load up a song, and it can have it duplicated. It basically duplicates it and gives you the vocals only or the instrumentals only, and you can choose which one you want to download, right? And this website is called vocalremover.org. I think I will leave it in the description. And it's a tool that should be used to help you whether or not, in case you can't figure out the details of a song, right? But there are a few other instruments, or actually a few other tools that do the same. This one is actually free, but on internet, basically everything can be free if you want to. There are also programs like RX and also other AI that can do the same trick and give you the instrumentals or vocals only. They do not do a 100% perfect job, but they help you to see or actually hear all the details, especially if you're missing something, if you can't figure out what a chord actually is. But you need to watch out, because some people just take these AI-made instrumentals and just put them on YouTube and take all the credits for them, which is, you're gonna get a huge copyright strike if you actually do use their songs, because this is actually the 100% song. Even if I am able to recreate it, actually, fun story, most of my instrumentals are actually copyright striked, but that is to do just because they are covers. But I had actually once I had a client that I told him, actually, yo, I can actually recreate this entire thing perfectly because it's very simplistic. I can actually make it 100% accurate, like it's actually the full song. And they actually told me that it's bad if I actually change something, that I do not try to make it 100% perfect because of this same problem. It's going to be, I guess, difficult in case somebody goes to them and be like, yo, you used our instrumental. It's going to be difficult for them to actually tell them that I made it, instead of an actual AI recreated it and them using it. So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you're a singer, if you're a vocalist of any kind, if you do covers, watch out for these people that put the AI generated instrumentals, and you can actually find one for the opening of what's that fucking anime called? You know, where the anime where Makima is basically one of the protagonists, Chainsaw Man, yeah, Chainsaw Man. Again, he made the opening using AI, and it's up on YouTube, but I'm not gonna say anything else. It's just funny when I see it, because they take credit for the stuff, and you actually can get very fucked if you use these instrumentals, especially if you're a popular singer. You actually are trying to grow up your brand, your vocal brand, whatever. So if you're just doing it for fun, then just use whatever. It is easier and simpler to use. Don't just come to me and be like, yo, I need you to do this, and just use whatever if you're just trying to start out. So that aside, what I was about to say is that there are a few tricks that you can use with the stereo imager, or any kind of plugin that basically has 4 channels for your stereo field, And this trick is called basically phase cancellation. You can do it in probably a lot of other ways. And what I'm doing here is taking the mono signal and phase cancelling it out, so you can't hear the drums, you can't hear the bass, the kick, you can't hear everything that's mono, so also the vocals, but you can only hear whatever is panned to both the left channels, left and right, and they are merged together. So this is a trick that you can use if you want to figure out what a guitar part is doing on the right channel and on the left channel, if they're different, and you can kind of get a better image by doing this. It's not perfect because both channels are getting mixed together, and you actually have to figure out which one is which. If there are 2 guitars playing different things on the left speaker and the right speaker, they are merged together, and you have to figure out which one is which. So so this is what it sounds like. If you pay attention, you can hear the reverb of the kick, which is probably not just the reverb, it's just the room mic of the kick, but you can't hear the booming of the kick, you can just hear the spatial sound of the kick. So I can actually hear very high piano notes in the later part of the solo. See if I can isolate them for you, or actually emphasize them for you. Okay, now anyway, I can hear the very high part of the piano notes on the later part of the solo, which I couldn't hear when I was... Actually, I can hear them, but I can hear them because I heard them previously and now I'm paying attention to them. So, well, anyway, this is a cool trick to actually listen to more details and whatever. If you do not have access to this for any reason, you can just use some tricks like this and it will get you going. I've used this trick for most of my career because things like this came out later, and I actually found them out even later, So for most of my time here making instrumentals, I just use tricks like this to figure out what other details are to a song and whatnot. And next part, we're gonna start with the drums, because every time I think it's easier that if you're starting to recreate a song, I think you should always start every single time with the drums, because it gets you the rhythm going, and you can easily hear and actually see all the different rhythmic components. So if the guitar start a bit earlier than the snare, you can actually see and hear that once you put the snare and the other drums, you can actually align the guitar parts to basically between the kick and the snare. And I'm gonna go into details on the next part because this part is a bit long already. So that's why I always recommend to start your instrumentals with the drums first, then the bass, because the bass usually plays the root note of the chord. So if you get it done, and it's easier to isolate using the frequency analyzer, it's just easier to isolate a bass part and just listening to it. And also the fundamental of the bass note is always around here, and there is almost nothing going on the lower side of the spectrum. So it's usually just the kick, the snare usually somewhere around here, and the bass, basically that's it. So it's easy to see and hear the bass notes. So, and they usually play, the root notes of the chords. So basically, you can just put the drums and the bass and you have the whole song. Because if you can't figure out what the guitars are playing, it can't be playing something that's dissonant to the bass, unless it's actually made on purpose and unless you can actually hear this dissonance. So getting the bass done before the guitars will help you later on in getting the guitars, getting the piano, getting the the violins and all the other instruments. So that's what I recommend, starting off with the drums, which is going to be the next part, then the bass, which is probably going to be the other part, unless I will merge bass and drums together. Then the guitars and all the other details later on. If the violin is used just once in one specific part, I treat it as a detail, as more like as a sound effect. So I will deal with it later on in the track. So that's it. This is it for the first part, and I will see you in the next part, guys.